Welcome, my cogs and gears, to another fireside chat. I'm your host and artist, IndigoBanner. Many of you may or may not know I am gender fluid. I am involved in the LGBTQ+, and in light of the recent murder of another transgender woman, I think we should get down and have a discussion about transgender people. Let's chat. I discovered my gender fluidity when I was about 20 years old, after I became involved in the LGBTQ and discovered my bisexuality. I always felt of two minds, found myself comfortable in a more masculine setup sometimes, and then desperately needing to be feminine. My experiences with drag also helped me come to the conclusion that I was gender fluid, not to mention the fun gender dysphoria that came with it, sort of validated the whole thing. Being transgender or non-binary is a wide spectrum of things, with a lot to talk about. But today I think I will focus on the history of transgender people, since this doesn't get discussed very often, and we will be taking a look at ancient history and cultures that had transgender people among them. Let's take a quick look at ancient Egypt and see how the Egyptians viewed gender. Goddesses were sometimes depicted with male genitalia, and Anat was depicted wearing both male and female clothes. There's a fairy tale called The Two Brothers, where one character has a temporary sex change stating they are now female. Hatshepsut was oftentimes depicted as male in their artwork and statues. Now, whether or not this is due to their need to consolidate power as a pharaoh, or because they legitimately felt that they were male, we'll never know. But we can at least say Hatshepsut was the very first drag king. Laugh at that joke, I've been sitting on that one for so long. I don't have any documents to provide proof for this, but there was a dig in an ancient tomb in Egypt a while back where they found a transgender laid to rest, being that this was an assigned female person who, through artwork and how the body was laid, clearly was truly male at heart. Ancient Egyptians believed there were 3 parts to a person: their body and 2 parts of their soul. And those 2 parts of the soul would go to the underworld and eventually return back to the body to be resurrected. So it would make sense that ancient Egyptians would be so accepting of transgender people. Their own worldview stated it would be possible that the soul went into the wrong body. In ancient Sumer, there were the Gala, who were transgender women. There were also transgender people who appeared later, protected by Ishtar, who would go to her temple to change into the gender they identified with. Assyria also had transgender women who were more specialized priests than anything else. There were transgender people in Arabia and the Middle East during the time of the Prophet. In pre-colonized Africa, many major cultural groups had third genders that could live as the gender they truly were, and could even marry according to that gender. Groups like the Yoruba and the Igbo didn't assign gender to children till they were about 5 years old. The Mbutu of the Cameroon didn't assign gender till after puberty. The Dagaba didn't even have gender based on genitalia, but based on the energy that the person exuded. Among the Swahili-speaking people of Kenya, a male-assigned Mashoga may take feminine names, marry men, and do womanly housework. Also, Mashaba marry women. Among some other Kenyan people, male-assigned priests called Megawe among the Meru and the Kikuyu dress and style their hair like women and may marry men and have been compared to trans women. Among the Nuer people, the female-assigned people who have borne no children may adopt a male status, marry a woman, and be regarded as the father of any children she bears, a practice which has been viewed as transgender or homosexual. The Nuer has also reported to have a male-to-female role. The Mali people of Ethiopia also have a traditional role for male-assigned Ashtaimi, who take on a female role. Traditionally, they will serve as sexual partners for the king on days that he was ritually barred from sex with all men. Among the Bantu people of southern Africa, there are reports of boy wives, either a sign of acceptance of homosexuality or possible transgender women, since they often dressed as women and would do the work of women. Native American cultures such as the Navajo, the Zuni, and the Iroquois all had transgender, third-gender people within their culture. The term nowadays used for those individuals from those cultures is two-spirited. It is a term that is for those groups alone, so I suggest not using it if you are not Native American. The Aztec, the Mayans, and the Zapotec people of Central and Southern America also had transgender men and women, and even after colonization, many indigenous groups kept these individuals safe and within their community. In Japan, historical documentation of male and female assigned transgender people is extensive, especially in the Edo period. Trans masculine people were found especially in Yoshiwara, Edo's red light district. India seems to have the most extensive history with transgender people and have whole sects of trans women or intersex women known as Hijras, who are oftentimes seen as holy figures. The Buddhist Tipitaka, composed about 21,000 years ago, documents 4 gender categories: female, male, Pandaka, and, oh boy, Yubato-Bianjanaka. It says the Buddha was tolerant of monks transitioning to nuns. In Hinduism, Yardhanar Ishvara is a half-male, half-female fusion of Shiva and Shakti. Indonesia has a trans third gender category of people called Wara. It has been estimated there are over 7 million Wara in Indonesia's population of 240 to 260 million people. In Indonesia, the Buga of the Salis recognized 3 sexes, male, female, and intersex, and 5 genders. The Makanora compared to cisgender women, the Oranani to cisgender men, Kalabe to trans women, Kalalai to trans men, and the Bisu, an androgynous gender. In the Philippines, male-assigned people who dress and live as women constitutes a third gender called the Bakla, also Bayog or Asog. Many work as respected Babalan shamans. In Thailand, people follow the same ancient Buddhist ideas of sex and gender. Ancient Greece had trans female priests. The Roman Emperor Elagabalus was actually a Roman empress. There is far more history you can find out about different cultural experiences with transgender people, but it goes to show that historically we have always been here in some form of another. We aren't a new phenomena. On a side note, I noticed a lot of the rejection of trans people came from European colonization, so it seems that transphobia is historically rooted in racism and imperialism. Think on that. Well, the chat has come to an end, my cogs and gears. I will see you next time on another fireside chat. Be sure to support the channel on our Patreon and check us out on our other social media platforms.